It seems like we are meeting the needs of our children in many cases better than we would have as just monogamous.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying?
Hey everyone, what's up? It's Sarah and welcome back to my channel. This is the third time that I am recording this video. I am working hard on my camera, lighting, audio settings, and it's just, I am not an expert. I refer to YouTube videos to help me out, and it's just taken a while. So thank you for bearing with me, guys. So in today's video, I wanted to talk about the brown kids. I wanted to talk about how they're starting to speak out about the trauma that they've experienced growing up. Recently, Paedon has made statements, so has Gwen. We're going to talk about that. But a more overarching theme that I wanted to talk about today is that the brown adults, the wives especially, go on and on and on and on about the many benefits of polygamy for them.
The benefits for plural marriages is that there is a lot more blessings and there's a lot more love. I mean, there's a lot more support. If I'm having a bad day, I know I've got, besides you, Kody, I know I've got 3 other adults that are going to sit there and support and help with these kids.
But my question is, and the theme of this video is, what are the benefits for the children? Like, cool, you're not an only child, but there's a lot of trauma that these kids, especially the brown kids, have had to endure. And I just really don't see how polygamy benefits kids at all. Recently, Gwen updated her Instagram bio to this. It says she is recovering from religious trauma in a cute way. So she is just putting it right out there on her public Instagram that, you know, the way she grew up left a mark on her emotionally. Additionally, we have seen Paedon really open up about his upbringing, about his past, about his mom. He's been doing interviews, he's really active on TikTok, and he actually pinned this to his TikTok. So it's like one of the top 3 TikToks that you see when you go to his page.
Sister Wives Tell All Episode 1 airs tomorrow. And I've told you all I don't watch the show because that's my family. That's kind of odd. Forever ago, I stopped watching the show because I didn't like what I saw. I was 12 and my absolutely incredible father, Kody, and my absolutely incredible to this day mother, Christine, were both doing great, and I didn't like me. I've had severe body issues since I was 9. And then we moved, I had severe depression issues. And I kept seeing myself get worse and worse and worse. And I know to this day that the worst part of me, the worst part of my life, is what everybody will remember. And now I'm catching myself in the mirror thinking, oh my gosh, I'm looking great. I've got far to go, but I've come so far. I'm so proud of what I've done.
So we have 2 of the brown children that have started speaking up and opening up more about how, you know, it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows for them growing up. And it's really not hard to see why, but it's such a juxtaposition and a dichotomy to what the brown adults, especially in the early seasons, have described as benefits, have actually ended up having detrimental effects on their kids. Let's talk about some of the challenges that children that grow up in polygamy have to face. And this is going to be aside from the outright obvious of like physical abuse or like child marriage or forced child labor or SA. This is going to be more nuanced, more emotional damage that happens to kids that grow up in polygamous families. The first thing I want to talk about is just the sheer number of siblings. The Brown family is actually relatively small at 18. Polygamous families, I remember watching a documentary on the Kingston clan, and one of the girls that had escaped, she was talking about she had like 30 siblings. So these polygamous families, like with the more and more wives you have, are huge. Dozens and dozens of kids in these families. It's literally impossible under the best circumstances with the best intentions for children in these massive families to receive equal amounts of time and attention from their parents. Emotional neglect is very common amongst polygamous children. When Paedon speaks in his TikTok of his depression, I mean, it's really no wonder. How could Christine and Kody, and by extension Janelle, Mary, and Robin, give Paedon's needs the attention that he deserved and needed when they have so many other kids to look after? On top of that, Christine, who is his biological mom, was the main maternal figure for all the kids at this time. So she had like 12 to 13 kids that she was responsible for. And Kody, we all know how much Kody doesn't help out. It was literally impossible for Christine to give Paedon the attention that he needed during that time. The next thing that I wanted to talk about was favoritism when it comes to the wives, and how the obvious favoritism shown by Kody to particular wives definitely has a trickle-down effect on the kids of those wives. The Browns have decided that rather than living in one household, each wife would live with her kids in their own house, and Kody would go between houses. The best case scenario of how this worked out was in Las Vegas, where the kids could still see each other whenever they wanted. But, the wives did have that autonomy and their own space, and they didn't have to, overhear Kody being romantic with another wife. So it seemed like the best case scenario. But now they're living miles apart. The siblings don't see each other. And then we have the added layer of COVID and Kody's kind of controversial reaction to isolating himself from his family in response to that. Being that they've all have lived separately, it was really on Kody to show equal time to the wives, and by extension, the equal time he's showing to his wives would be the equal time he's showing to his kids. But that didn't happen, and it isn't happening. Kody is having tension with Mary and Christine. With that being said, he's not at their houses as much. Christine still has young kids at home, and he is just simply not there. Kody is having, tension with Janelle, and he has not seen Gabriel. He speaks of not seeing Kody in upwards of a year. So it definitely, if you fall out of favor with Kody as a wife, that's going to have a direct detrimental impact on the children. Another thing that I wanted to talk about today was the constant moving, and this is more specific to the Brown family because I don't know how much constant moving happens in other polygamous families. Usually polygamous families live near each other in some sort of like compound or same neighborhood, but the Browns have made really big moves since before they even were on the show, and we've seen them move a whole bunch. Like a running joke on the show has been, how many times has the Brown family moved? Literally never have I seen any of the adults consider their children when talking about moving. What would be good for their emotional stability, their educational stability. Just that is never a thought in their minds. I think the closest we got was they had moved to Vegas. They were all living in separate rentals, and they all could appreciate the value that the cul-de-sac was going to bring to the family unit, that the kids could all be together. And then, I'll give it to Robin. It is highly speculated that the impetus for this move to Flagstaff was because Dayton was going to school in Flagstaff. So, I guess 1 out of 18 kids in that situation was thought of. So I guess that's something. But none of the other moves, the kids were viscerally affected and not wanting to move. And they were kind of just told to suck it up and deal. Really horrible. Another trauma that the Brown kids had to experience that is specific to them, not necessarily all polygamous kids, is that they were minor children being filmed for a TV show. This is a long-standing conversation that is being had when discussing the rights of children who appear on reality shows or who appear on like family vlogging channels on YouTube. It's who is protecting the best interest of these kids. Imagine being able to go back and rewatch some of the most traumatic times of your life growing up. I am so glad that, when I was 12, there wasn't, a TV show being filmed about my family, because the thought of that is absolutely horrific to me. It makes a lot of sense why the Brown kids, as they've gotten older into adulthood, I mean, they're moving, and because Kody and the wives are moving, they're not all in the same place anymore. But it makes sense that the older they get, the more they distance themselves from the show. We see Logan is like hardly associated with the show anymore. Paedon hardly appeared on the last season. These kids don't want their lives exposed anymore. And now they have the choice to say no. So it seems like a lot of them are, championing their privacy. The kids that I do feel bad for, the older adult kids, are Dayton and Aurora, because they're not in relationships that we know of. It's unclear what kind of education they're pursuing at this point. It's I think Robin said they're taking college courses, but are they like on a path to a degree? Who knows? What do they have going on except for sitting at the home, being filmed, being around Kody all the time? Like, I actually feel bad for them. There's obviously many other concerns when we talk about children of polygamy. I mean, like I said in the beginning, the forced child labor, the denial of education. A lot of these kids, they get pulled out of school, sent off to work, and it's a total violation of their rights. That wasn't particular to the Brown family. I mean, there is a cousin. He's a comedian on TikTok, and he's Kody's nephew, and he says that Kody is on the liberal side of his family. So we have seen ways where Kody has been more accepting in certain situations. As wild an idea as that is, he is a little bit more of an inclusive polygamist, if you will. So while the wives are out there stating how awesome polygamy is because they don't have to have Kody around all the time, that means that their kids don't have Kody around all the time either. I see that a lot of the benefits that the wives and Kody boast about actually have a direct detrimental impact on the children. Logan was parentified early because, Janelle couldn't get out the house fast enough to go to work. Christine's kids got even less time with her because Janelle worked such long hours. Janelle talks about this being a benefit because there are other wives at home to help care for her kids. But what about the kids who never see their biological mom or have to split time between 12 others to get some maternal attention? That seems like a bummer for the kids. Gabe speaks of the fact in season 16 that he hasn't seen Kody in upwards of a year. He didn't even know about Kody's rules because, let's face it, the rules didn't exist. COVID was an excuse. We have all come to accept that. And Gabe also mentions that he has had a girlfriend that Kody has never met. I would be interested to know now, because that season 16 was shot over a year ago. Like, has Gabe's girlfriend met Kody? It would be really interesting to know. And multiple kids have spoken about how they eventually age out of favor with Kody as he is the most attentive when they're babies. there's really no perks for children of polygamy. Yeah, you have brothers and sisters, and you have a lot of brothers and sisters. On the one hand, it's, there's other people that can commiserate with you, that have a shared life experience. But then that's just 18 kids with religious trauma and emotional neglect that they have to work through as adults. So I don't know. Anyways, you guys, let me know what you think down in the comments. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to my channel, follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Reality Squad, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Take care. Have a good one. Much love.